see. How was the Red Cross?
Oh, fine. I'm a regular down there. You know, pint a month.
Oh, really? I don't see a Band-Aid anywhere on your arm.
Well, you know, I'm a quick healer. Do you mind if I sit down?
Well, the table's rather small. I'm not sure there's enough room. Yes.
Well, that's all right. I'm not going to eat anyway. I'm just going to people watch. So I didn't expect to see you here.
Oh, really? I thought you might have heard Terry and me making plans to meet here to discuss the clinic.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You mentioned it. Well, actually, it must have, you know, subconsciously soaked in. So, you're a doctor.
Well, I'm getting back to my practice after a long leave of absence. But I'll spare you the details, hmm?
Oh, no, please. I want to hear it all.
And Dr. Greeley was quite pleased with my recovery. In fact, he agreed that I can go home tomorrow.
Oh, I'm very happy for you, Mr. Carpenter.
You know, I don't think it's humanly possible for people to appreciate good health until it's gone. That's perhaps why people who work in hospitals, who are around illness all the time, must enjoy theirs a bit more.
Well, for most of us, I think the real appreciation comes in seeing a patient improve.
Well, you certainly had a role in my recovery.
More by prayer than by my duties on staff.
Yes. Well, I took your advice and got a private nurse for my recuperation at home.
Well, that's great. Look, if you need any more help, just let us know.
Oh, I'm sure I won't. In fact, I'm hoping to sever all my ties with Kingsley General. This is one chapter in my life I have no interest at all in reliving.
But you agree the experience has changed you?
Oh, unquestionably. You know, when I was laid up in this bed for weeks, it became very obvious to me that I had not delegated my authority properly. I tell you, it isn't a very comforting feeling to know that your personal assets and corporate responsibilities are in the hands of one lawyer and a few nameless investors.
That wasn't quite what I meant.
I know what you meant.
It's a subject I don't like to push, despite what people may think. But you were asking so many questions, and you were asking all the right questions. I find it very hard to believe you weren't searching.
Well, if you include desperation in a definition of searching, then yes, I was momentarily curious in your faith.
Mr. Carpenter, I think you were a desperate man before you were admitted to this hospital. Your heart attack may have brought into focus some of the problems you're facing, but I don't think it created them.
That's a very interesting theory, but you'll have a hard time proving it. You know, there was a time when I really doubted your motives. That was the court battle between Laurie and Miriam. I thought you were a total sham. Maybe this is not what you're trying to get me to say, but I do not doubt your integrity anymore. You've shown Miriam and Nancy and me too many kindnesses to be insincere, but I just don't look at the world the way you do. The cross and the visiting of God's Son make interesting stories.
But you think they're fairy tales?
Please, Mrs. Davidson. I don't think there's any more need for us to dredge up our differences.
If you knew what I know about eternal life, about life after death, and hell, you'd realize why I have a vested interest in every human being that the Lord leads me to.
I appreciate your concern, but I appreciate my doctors and this facility more.
Can't you see God's hand in your healing?
What I see is an educated, practiced, well-equipped medical staff who healed me.
Tended with prayer, which include those of your own daughter.
Well, that prerogative is yours and Miriam's, but frankly, I find it bothersome when people apparently attribute to some unknown power up above the products of their initiative and courage down here.
Don't let it bother you. But I hope you know that some of medical science's leading discoveries have been made by Christians.
Of course they have, after meticulous, careful experimentation.
Exactly. So why do they choose to give the glory to God? Why should such brilliant minds share that same flaw?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe some unspoken corporate guilt, perhaps superstition.
That's something that doesn't mix, you'll admit, with human
Please,
science.
Mrs. Davidson, practice your apologetics on someone else. I want to get on with the business of living.
And that's something that I know you do very well, Mr. Carpenter. Your world is built on risk, isn't it? Making investments that you hope will be profitable.
At a basic level, yes, that's the case. Sometimes incredible risks.
Well, then I think you can understand where I am. I'm risking my life in the Word of God, not only for the rewards of heaven, but simply because I believe that every word in the Bible is true. Now, if those promises are genuine, I will literally not have risked a thing. If those promises are false, I will still not have risked anything because I will have enjoyed the life and love here on earth.
But what is wrong with that?
You are basing your life on your own philosophy. If you're wrong, Mr. Carpenter, you risk facing eternity in hell, separated from God forever. Now, can you honestly say you're willing to take that risk?
So, what brought you back to Kingsley?
Well, I've been trying to reassemble some personal relationships.
Oh, Dave, you don't have to be vague with me. I mean, I've been through it all.
You have?
Well, we're talking about divorce here, right?
Well, yes, that and 2 daughters here in Kingsley.
So how long has it been since you split up?
4 years.
4 years? Forget it. It's past history.
Excuse me?
Well, what I'm saying is there's no need to dwell in the past. I've always been a person to forge ahead in the future, you know? So, what was her name?
Kate.
Alimony's the pits, isn't it? Unless she's remarried, has she?
Well, not to my knowledge. I've been having some trouble finding her. Look, do we really have to
Well, you
go
know,
on?
for me, I've tied and untied the knot 3 times. A real glutton for punishment.
Oh, I don't know. I think a good marriage is probably one of the most beautiful things in life. It's worth pursuing.
Oh, right. I mean, that's why I kept at it for so long. But I think people like you and me, maybe we just need our freedom for a while.
Look, do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Sure, nothing's too private with me.
You're Terry's sister,
Yeah, but don't let that throw you.
meaning that you're not like Terry.
Well, we have our similarities, but, well, what do you think of Terry?
I think she's a saint.
Yeah, I have been able to influence her for the better over the years.
Terry, we were just talking about you.
You're Rob.
And very much alive, too. I'm glad you came over. Look, come on, sit down.
And what did the doctor say?
They gave me a clean bill of health. I'll be free as of tomorrow.
Congratulations. I can't tell you how happy I am
And
for you.
I'm sure I'm going to find a very profitable Hollister Mall when I return, too.
Yeah. Well, you're looking at the reports there for the last 2 months. We are snapping at the heels of the other shopping centers.
Oh, the figures are very impressive, but of course they'll level off after Christmas.
Yeah, of course, but we got traffic tie-ups at the interstate ramps because the crowds are so big.
Now, that's an inconvenience to our shoppers, one that I'm certain that you'll rectify.
Yeah, of course. I'll call the Roads and Highways tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that I won't have either the time or the concentration for details like that. Harold, I want you to level with me. Tell me everything, and I mean everything that you know about Miriam.
Well, actually, I know very little. I know that Miriam's car was found by the police not too far from the Redland home. She'd been told that there was a letter waiting at the Redlands for from Eric, her son.
My grandson.
Yeah, well, he changed his name from Frederick to Eric. I wasn't sure
I
you knew
know
about
all that from Miriam's last visit. Now, what about the letter?
She never got it.
Then she must have been abducted between her car and the house, right?
Well, nobody knows that for
Oh,
sure.
Harold, now stop trying to spare me. I'm really getting tired of people pussyfooting about this subject because of my condition.
Yeah, well, okay.
Now, no ransom note.
No word from Miriam, no clues, nothing. The police aren't very optimistic.
And what are you doing about it?
Well, actually, I'm doing quite a lot. On my own expense, too. I contacted the Mason home in England. I know she's not over there.
Really? I mean, you really think that she parked her car in Chesterfield, walked 10 miles to the airport, and then flew to Europe?
It's called narrowing the options, Charles.
What about Helen in Canada?
Well, as I told you, I sent McCormick up there, and there's no sign of Miriam. Helen hadn't talked to her or seen her since she left Kingsley.
And who's handling this in the police department?
Detective Sergeant Brubaker. I have to be on him constantly.
You know, I'll spend whatever is necessary to find her, Harold. Miriam and I have had our differences lately, but life without her is just unthinkable.
Hope I'm not interrupting anything.
Well, actually, we were just having a nice private conversation. Can't your business wait till later?
Well, I do have a lot on my schedule today, and Terry and I have a lot to discuss.
Well, all right, pull up a chair. If you don't mind, I'd love to listen. Medical talk is so interesting to me.
Nancy, we have a list of details that are meticulous and boring. I really don't think you'd be too interested.
Want bet?
Okay, I've checked with some local insurance companies and the Blue Cross. They want you to fill out these forms as soon as possible.
Isn't that just like...
We haven't hit any bottlenecks, have we?
Green light so far. Of course, we have Ben and Alex to thank for that. They've got a good name in the community. Oh, and over here we received from the local Board of Health some more posters for you to look at. Here's a list of the subjects.
Oh, yeah, we can use those posters to liven up those cement blocks.
You know, I saw the cutest poster the other day. It had this little hamster sticking up his head out of the thumb hole of a bowling ball. It was really... well, how about if I buy it and I'll see if you like it, okay?
Nancy, it's way past 1. Don't you have to get back to the office?
Oh, my gosh, it's after 1? Oh, Vicki will kill me. Well, it was really wonderful to talk with you, and I'm sorry our visit had to be cut short. Why don't you invite Dave and I over for dinner one night, Terry?
Well, we'll see, Nancy, but this week has been hard enough already.
All right, fine. Well, I'm sure we'll get together again before long.
Oh, and Nancy, don't forget what we talked about, the house.
Oh, yeah.
Sisters?
Afraid so. I can't believe how inconsiderate she was. Here we were talking about something important.
Easy,
She kept
Terry, come on.
Oh, Dave. I am sorry for the way she was coming on to you.
It was almost funny, really, but don't bother about it. She's probably lonely.
Yeah, lonely like a spider waiting for flies. I hope she didn't say anything too forward to you.
Only that I should stop living in the past. You know, stop pursuing a reconciliation with Kate.
She said that?
Let's see. Oh, yes, she mentioned how she influenced you for the better.
Oh. Listen, Dave, I am glad that you're taking this all in stride, but Nancy is far from harmless. As a matter of fact, she has hurt a lot of people that are very close to me.
Hey, I understand. Look, let me get you a cup of coffee, and we'll talk business, okay?
The fingerprint test came up negative.
Well, I didn't think you'd find anything. I usually clean my house from top to bottom every week.
Well, in deference to your housekeeping, we did find fingerprints, but they either belonged to you or members of your family.
Oh, that's too
And
bad.
the only prints we found in Miriam's car were hers.
Oh. Sergeant Brubaker, I know that your job is very demanding, but I'm praying for you every day, believing that God's going to give you the wisdom and the compassion to see this thing through.
Compassion?
Oh, it's there, all right. I see it in your eyes. And I'm praying that you don't keep it down. You know, it's one of the qualities that makes you such a fine detective.
Mrs. Redmond, that means a lot to me. Thank you, and I hope you'll take this as compassionate.
What's that?
Miriam's been missing for over 4 weeks now. And considering her background, the nature of her disappearance, we all believe that she was kidnapped. But the days go on and no ransom note turns up. That theory is just getting weaker and weaker.
You believe that she might be dead?
Maybe I'm trying not to think that, but I just want to be totally honest with you.
Hey there, John. Mom. Boy, it's cold.
Gene, good to see you.
Hey.
How's things at the Chronicle?
Oh, everything's fine. I'm working hard down there. Very hard. Wait a minute. What's with the long faces here?
Well, I was just telling your mother that the fingerprint test, they came up negative, and the ransom note that we've been hoping for, it just hasn't shown up.
Oh, gosh, I guess everything is getting harder every day. Hey, you know something though, John? I'm really glad that you're here. I want to ask you, Do you think by any chance that Babs' ex-pimp has anything to do with this at all?
Ronnie Washington.
Yeah.
I think I'm one step ahead of you there. I'm going to pull him in for questioning.
You mean you got a lead?
It's a blind shot in a very dark alley, Mrs. Redlin.
Well, you know, he was always after Babs, and maybe he found out that the two of these girls were very close, and he probably took Miriam to flush Babs out. What do you think?
Or he just plain got the wrong girl. It is possible, but I think we would have heard from him by now if that was the case, or we would have found Miriam someplace.
Gil Prescott?
No, I'm his chauffeur. Just leave. Well.
I am looking to talk to someone about construction sites. I was referred to Gil Prescott.
Yeah, well, that's me.
Uh-huh.
No, really, I am. I'm in charge. This is my baby.
Well, you have quite a business here for a man your age.
Well, actually, my father built it. Yeah, he's not here, so I'm pulling the strings.
Well, whatever. I'd like to talk to someone about a construction site for our company's use. Oh, if that's possible.
Yeah, whatever you want. You can. Modeling Associates.
We're doing a winter layout for furs, and I'd like to do something outdoors, something with a construction site, you know, bulldozers, girders, that kind of thing.
Well, it's all yours.
I think maybe you might want to look at our contracts first.
No need for that.
There's time clauses and liability.
I said it was okay, and that's all that matters around here.
You don't have a company lawyer?
Yes, I do. But she works for the company that I run. So, when I say it's okay, okay?
Let me put it this way, Mr. Prescott. Until your lawyer approves these contracts, we don't do business. I think it's best I don't owe you any favors.
Do you own this company?
I manage it for the owner. I think my business here is finished.
Right. Now, let's talk about something a little more important.
Will you keep me posted, John?
As soon as I talk to Ronnie Washington, I'll give you a call, Gene. But you realize all this is...
Confidential, I understand that, yes.
Oh, Gene knows how to keep his mouth shut, all right. You know, he once ran his bike into the family car and didn't tell me for 3 years.
Sometimes I think we could use more reporters like that.
Wait, I didn't say I was going to do my own digging around, though.
Well, there's nothing I can do to stop you.
Well, I can. If it has anything to do with Babs' former employees, I don't want you messing around with him.
Yes, Mother, dear. I tell you, if it was up to this lady, I'd spend the rest of my life covering stories on supermarket openings and high school football games.
Even high school is getting pretty tough these days. Guys like Monk and Hernandez.
Hey, yeah, I'm glad you reminded me of that. Are they still in jail?
They're getting ready to come up in front of a juvenile judge real soon.
Really? Well, how does it look?
Well, they're going to have a hard time talking their way out of those theft charges. Dr. Greeley caught them red-handed with that video equipment.
John,
As for them being tied to the rape case, that's not going to be so easily proven.
I came here to discuss these contracts, so if you could have them approved as quickly as possible.
How about tonight?
Well, that would be great. Could you have them in the mail tomorrow?
Come on, you know what I'm talking about. Miss Amber Phillips? Now that's a model's name if I've ever heard one. Is that your real one? Okay, just kidding. Why don't you meet me at the Castaway, and I'll give you legally approved contracts there, huh?
That won't be necessary.
But it would be preferable, wouldn't it? I mean, signed, sealed, and delivered in less than 3 hours. Now, that's not bad service.
I'm busy tonight.
Come on, you're a model. What do you work, half hour, 45 minutes a day?
After I leave here, I will go back to the office and I will go through 2 approvals. Then look through 5 submitted portfolios, handle this week's payroll, and double-check preparations for tomorrow's shoot.
Yeah, and then you should be ready by 8:30, right?
At which time I will go to the gym and work out for an hour and 15 minutes. Then go home, eat a soybean salad, go through a stack of weeklies, and promptly fall on my bed at 10:45. Oh, that was just for the record, Mr. Prescott, because with little variance, I do that every evening, weekends and holidays.
Fine. But see, I go the other route. and I don't mail these things at all, then you're going to have to come down and pick them up yourself.
If I don't receive those releases by next week, I will assume that they have been rejected and go to any one of a number of construction companies in Kingsley. I don't think that will be necessary because I think once we drop the single-spar chatter and the come-ons, I think we may have a pretty smooth working relationship. Goodbye, Mr. Prescott.
Now that is the way I like 'em. All right, yeah.
You just missed Sergeant Brubaker, Mr. Webster.
Oh, yeah? I bet he was the life of the party. What do you have to say? Thanks.
Oh, just that the fingerprint tests were negative.
Well, now, that's just terrific. Miriam's been gone a whole month, and the crime lab is just now getting here.
Oh, no, come on, be fair, Harold. I mean, John had no way of tracing Miriam's path back to this living room until after she disappeared.
I know, but you'd think it'd be protocol for him to check the victim's last place of residence. I told Charles that I'd have to be all over Brubaker.
You saw Mr. Carpenter?
Today, yeah. That's what I came over here for, was to tell you that he's going to be released from the hospital tomorrow. He knows all about Miriam's case, what little there is to know.
Well, it's good to hear that he's in good health and everything. I imagine he has a lot on his mind right now anyway.
Well, if you're talking about Hollis Mall, that'll pretty much take care of itself. No, he's going to be devoting most of his time and money now to tracking down Miriam.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that reminds me, he would like to have that letter from Eric.
Oh, that's understandable. Matter of fact, I was going to suggest that he take it anyway. Oh, when I think of the times Miriam spent waiting for the mailman, hoping to see this letter.
Well, you know, I think it's best that at least one of the family members see it.
Shane, I don't like you saying that. I'm believing that Miriam is going to see that letter, and soon.